This media check dives deeper into the Nokia Lumia 925. First we'll have a look at the display through a magnifier. Afterwards we will check the photo and video quality, first in daylight and then in candlelight, because the Lumia is said to shoot great images even in low light situations. We will see. With 335 ppi, the Lumia lies 21% above the average, but it can't reach top phones like the Galaxy S4, Xperia Z or HTC One. Under the magnifier you'll see that the pixels of the Lumia have more space in between, even compared to its AMOLED brother the S4. The One and Xperia Z below have LCDs, as you can see on the more evenly pixels and the smoother edges on the rings. Let's start with photos in daylight. Compared to the S4 with its 13 megapixels, you realize a less intense contrast of the Lumia. Look at the building back left, for example. The sharpness is a little less crisp too. That's getting even more visible if we zoom into the picture. Then the edges of the statue show some tearing on the Lumia, while they still build a great contrast to the background on the S4. But of course the S4 shoots with 13 megapixels instead of 7, so the image of the Lumia has to be blown up to 200% to show nearly the same section. The images of the HTC One with 4 megapixels are even smaller, so they have to be enlarged to 300%. With that they lose sharpness of course, but nevertheless the contrasts are higher, and you can realize a slight color fault on the Lumia. If you compare the Lumia to the One in original size, the image of the One seems to be crisper, partly because of the higher contrast. Look at the base of the statue or the flank of the bull on the left. They show more details and contour. On the other hand, the picture of the One shows more grain, presumably because the software is sharpening a little too much. In addition, please note the different focal length. Here the Lumia lies in the middle between the S4 and the One. The S4 gives the closest image section, the One the widest. If you watch all three images side by side, you realize what big a difference this makes. The very same with videos, of course, even if all three devices shoot in full HD. This freeze frame reveals some very diverse color tones. Again, the Lumia shows a heavy red cast. But the edge of the fountain has as much details as on the S4. This magnification reveals that the Lumia shoots the sharpest videos. The face on the right side of the fountain pillar is to be seen best on the 925. The reason might be the higher shutter speed as suggested by the smaller water drops. This in turn gives the hint that the camera lens gathers more light. Shakes are compensated the best by the Lumia, even though the One has an optical image stabilizer too. The S4 with its digital stabilizer shows the most dangling image. The autofocus of all three devices uses to pull every now and then, but it can be fixed in case of the Lumia in the camera options. This freeze frame shows some trouble with plain spaces the Lumia has. Even if the picture itself is crisp, some areas lose details massively. The HTC lacks a familiar issue, but not as intense as the Nokia. The most details keeps the Samsung. Look at the capstone in this magnification, for example. It really looks like the decoding algorithms of the Lumia are not adjusted precisely. It's definitely not the data rate, that's high enough with 20 megabits per second. The S4 only operates 17 megabits per second, but obviously has the best algorithm tuning. Well, we're now going to dig really deep. These pictures have been shot in the light of a candle standing close. Here the Lumia shows the brightest result, but on the other hand you see a little grain, especially in dark areas and in the background. The One can't keep up with that. Surprisingly, even the S4 is doing better. Here the One should have taken advantage of the big pixel sensors of its ultra-pixel camera. The candle in exactly 1 meter distance separates the wheat from the chaff. While the S4 and the One can catch a lot and thus not getting a sharp picture, The Lumia gives at least a recognizable, sharp image. With a lot of grain, of course, but not that much that it would destroy the result. And now the same procedure on video. As long as the candle stands close, the one has the best result. Crisp, recognizable, even with the least amount of grain. But as soon as you move the candle into 1 meter distance, all three candidates don't see much more than a coal cellar at midnight. The bottom line is the Lumia 925 is doing well, but it's not that superhero some might have expected. Even if the PureView software renders the 8.7 megapixels of the sensor down to photos with 7 megapixels, the 4 megapixels shots of the one show more sharpness and contrast. And of course, they don't have a chance against the 13 megapixels of the Galaxy S4. Concerning videos, the encoding works a little suboptimal and they show a color fault, sometimes a heavy one. Photos and videos in low light, the Lumia really shoots better compared to regular phone cameras like the Galaxy S4, and even the HTC One has to surrender. But miracles the Lumia 925 can't provide either. It's not that night vision device the advertisings want to make us believe. To make it short, just because of the camera you don't have to choose the Nokia Lumia 925. It's not that much better than the camera of the HTC One. And it can't compete the 13 megapixels of the Galaxy S4, of course. But in the 7-8 megapixels league it's doing a good job, but Nokia really should fix those decoding and color issues with an update.